Hello everyone, welcome to Wally Global. Today is May 6th, 2025. Today, I want to talk about whether a financial war seems to have started. Why is it that in American politics there are legislators pushing? It has been rumored and talked about all along, but this time they're saying you should kick out China concept stocks. Are promoting this issue, even wanting to investigate American financial institutions. They hope to prevent American funds or those through American platforms from supporting those Chinese stocks, or they feel it might threaten US national security and so on. Will Chinese concept stocks return to Hong Kong this way? Will they? So will Hong Kong greatly benefit, or will it be completely wiped out in this financial nuclear war, or will it become cannon fodder? In this episode, we will talk about the Financial Times report. I noticed that many Hong Kong media outlets have already covered it, but in a rather brief manner. Therefore, I will explain in more detail what the Financial Times has actually reported about this incident so that everyone can make their own judgment. Is there a significant chance that a financial nuclear war will really happen? Because this matter will be more serious than the China-United States trade war, and Hong Kong, maybe it will be a vortex center, or will it gain significantly? Why not watch the video and let's discuss together? Before we start, I hope everyone will subscribe to my channel, comment, like, and share with your friends. Thank you all. Referring back to the Financial Times report, 2 committee chairs of the U.S. Congress jointly issued a letter urging the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, to delist Alibaba and several other Chinese companies from the U.S. stock market, citing their connections with the Chinese military and the risk they pose to U.S. national security. The meaning of multiple could be around 25 in this context. The companies named this time include Alibaba, JD, Weibo, and others. A congressman named John Moulinar and the one named Rick Scott wrote to the SEC chairman named Paul Akins, asking him to take action on these 25 Chinese companies listed in the US. Previously, it was all discussion and saying there might be or consider or called consideration. This time, officially from Congress, talking about sending a letter to request the SEC just directly take action, and they are actually the chair of the House China Select Committee, meaning they seem to represent the entire committee. It's no joke. These committees in the House are not just from one party. So, another participant is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Aging. It's strange. What does this have to do with aging issues? Oh, right, he doesn't represent the committee. He happens to be in that committee, but his position means he's the chairman. All right. Going back to whether they will really take action this time, will it be approved or not? According to the Financial Times report, the letter pointed out that these Chinese companies, on one hand, are taking funds from American investors, while at the same time helping the Chinese Communist Party with military modernization, even involving serious human rights violations. The legislators say that these companies seem very commercial, but in reality, they are used by the Chinese government to serve the Chinese Communist Party politically. Later at the end, I think the media will look back, hey, what does China say? You can't report unilaterally. How will China oppose? And so on. Who do we all believe? The 2 congressmen pointed out that China implements a policy of military-civil fusion, meaning that when the government needs it, they can compel companies to hand over technology for use by the People's Liberation Army. They say that on the surface, they are regular tech or retail companies, but in reality, they might already be collaborating with the People's Liberation Army. Hey, do they have any reports, any evidence, really? Or are they just saying it casually? We need to see what follows. It seems to talk about those KOFIC things, also saying a lot of reports came out. Then People's Daily says to investigate the tracing of the United States. Really a tug of war between China and the US. All right, let's continue talking about this report, the Financial Times. The report says this move is actually part of the United States' recent efforts to suppress China's influence by limiting China's access to American resources, such as capital, technology, and talent, to enhance military capabilities. Meanwhile, the trade war between China and the United States has not ceased. Just now, the CIA openly released 2 Chinese-language videos to recruit Chinese spies from high and mid-level positions. Wow, can they really do that? It's so blatant now. No wonder Ta Kung Pao mentioned that Li Ka-shing said it's really a war between China and the United States. Of course, he's probably not referring to a hot war. We describe this as a power struggle. But he said, using these issues as resources. It so happens that Ta Kung Pao also involves Li Ka-shing. Li Ka-shing is a Hong Kong issue, and this matter is happening right in the middle of this event. It makes one feel somewhat emotional. So today, let's continue talking about what they said. Legislators pointed out that the Chinese Communist Party's control over businesses is systematically hidden from the public, and American investors cannot know the truth within. Even if Chinese invested companies enhance their disclosure of information, the uncertainty they cause cannot be eliminated. Moreover, many of these companies are not only non-transparent but also directly involved in China's military or surveillance systems. Sometimes we say whether we believe it or not is not the most important thing. Do the Americans believe it? Do the voters believe it? It seems these officials believe it. It doesn't matter whether the SEC believes it or not. Is that so? Do these legislators have any power? The most important thing is, does Donald Trump's cabinet believe it? Does the president believe it? Is it possible for his laws to prevent him from doing this? Or have they already studied it and found it legally feasible? These series of questions will affect whether he will do it or not later. But I am somewhat worried, it seems. There is a chance of this happening now, because typically, the United States rarely acts so suddenly. Some media outlets might hint at it first, and then it gradually happens. At that time, it was said that Donald Trump would impose a 65% tariff on China. People laughed, saying you wouldn't do it. I've said it for a long time. Look back at those videos. Is that so? They said he wouldn't, said he was talking nonsense, things like that. Wow, who knew it would be over 60 percentage points? It's more than double. So, wow, now this approach might happen, it could happen, it's happening. A congressman, right? That is to say, the committee truly expressed their stance in writing, urging the SEC to take action. Is it happening now? Okay, so in the end, will it be implemented? According to what the United States calls the Foreign Company Accountability Act, actually, the SEC does have the authority to suspend trading. When I asked the question, it answered that if Chinese companies fail to make proper disclosures and protect American investors, the SEC can completely kick them out of the market. With regard to the value of paper, the SEC should take immediate action. They also disclosed more company names. The companies mentioned are Pony.ai, which develops autonomous driving technology, Hesai Technology that makes laser sensors, Hazer, and Tencent Music, which has already been blacklisted by the US Department of Defense. I don't understand why Tencent Music was blacklisted by the Department of Defense. Also, there's Daqo New Energy, a polysilicon producer in Xinjiang involved in forced labor. And what else? Two lawmakers said that these companies are just the tip of the iceberg. Behind them, there are a large number of Chinese-funded companies continuously using American funds to serve a Chinese communist government described as a genocidal regime. According to the U.S. China Economic and Security Review Commission, as of March, there are a total of 286 Chinese companies listed in the United States. They are not just naming these 25, there are many more. Again, it's like we're saying, we can't see that much right now, right? Ordinary citizens are just seeing media reports. However, we understand one thing, which is that they feel this way. Whether it's the truth or not, it's most important that they feel this way. They might take some actions like deleting you and so on. The key is to look at the aftermath, such as the economic impact. Geopolitics. Okay, what impact does it have on Hong Kong? So actually, those American investors are worried too. I think American fund companies themselves are also worried that the trade war between China and the United States will escalate into a capital war. Capital war. Is it truly a financial war? This is what the US Office Financial Times is saying. Former chair of the U.S. China Review Commission, Robert Robinson, said that the years-long support by American investors for the main adversary of the United States, which is China, will gradually come to an end. Is it gradual, or is it already quite urgent? They seem unable to tolerate China's fair trade anymore. So I say, this time the geopolitical situation between China and the United States, the US containment and suppression of China, I describe as a kind of unrestricted warfare. I made a video in the early days saying that I sensed something was off, that he was doing many things as part of a hybrid warfare strategy. Do you think it's just tariffs? It's not only tariffs. Actually, Xia Baolong is right. It's not just about the tax, it's about life. Now it's reaching the financial sector, and it's no joke. Plus, it's an all-out attack, hitting you with a 7-punch combo. If that's the case, then it's troublesome, right? You say those congressmen are elected by the people, right? Then they don't mind taking a beating. They're not afraid of not being re-elected next time. It seems they really aren't afraid. We need to pay attention to American public opinion. It's worth noting that even though Donald Trump has done a lot of things that are quite loud, he was still elected. However, the US has a system of rotation for its presidency, and of course, this is his last term. Of his last term, I think he is doing quite okay. Then in 100 days, so much has been done, and there is still some time to work on it. This time, it's the Congress members themselves proposing it, so it's not just Donald Trump actively doing it, Congress is doing it too. Many things, sometimes the two parties compete. The two parties are mutually, wow, both are so ruthless. American politics. But these things have bipartisan consensus, which is really troublesome. I'll continue to talk about the new SEC chairman, Paul Atkins. He has not yet announced any policy on China, but during a previous confirmation hearing, he said he would ensure that Chinese-funded companies comply with US regulations, accounting auditing standards, because these are key to protecting investors and market confidence. These things he talked about from a business and accounting perspective, but the legislators really addressed it from a national security standpoint, which is a bit different, and he didn't respond to that matter. In addition to targeting Chinese companies, actually, the House China Committee has also strengthened scrutiny of American financial institutions. Wow, it's not just targeting China, but also dealing with their own financial institutions. So, did these financial institutions assist, or did they? There is no investment involving Chinese companies with military affiliations or human rights violations, and that would really be troublesome, and there might be a chance of being fined as well. Speaking of which, just now, Ireland imposed an epic fine on TikTok for sending data to China. Europe is doing a lot of things now, and there are some tariffs which are troublesome this time. Sigh. It means that in the coming years, the whole situation won't be calm. Regarding the actions of the United States, what does China say? To get back to that, I think there's not enough coverage. It states that China's embassy in the United States expressed strong opposition, criticizing the United States for its broad national security concept. Why is everything national security? Misusing national security. One moment it's national security law, then something else. Wow, China strongly opposes it. Why do you keep using national security laws? Isn't it? Using national power and long-arm jurisdiction to suppress Chinese companies? Embassy spokesperson Liu Pengyu said, "We oppose the politicization and instrumentalization of trade technology issues. It's not just about trade." Now it's finance. Finally, I want to say, actually, there was just news that Alibaba is preparing to independently list Ant International in Hong Kong. Ant Group itself is registered in Singapore, as is TikTok. Many companies prefer to place their international headquarters in Singapore, not in Hong Kong. I also want to ask, why not put it in their own place? But then they like to list in the United States and raise funds in the United Kingdom. But now, it seems they're going for a Hong Kong listing. That is, there's a strong scent. Earlier, Chen Maobo had already mentioned that they were preparing for the US, the wave of Chinese companies returning that were listed in the United States. This time, Hong Kong is thriving, not just thriving, but thriving greatly. So the United States has driven these companies back to Hong Kong. Could the United States be shooting itself in the foot? If they think that raising funds truly helps military-industrial enterprises or the like, then if funds are raised in Hong Kong, the United States wouldn't be able to do anything about it, right? But just now you saw it tightened scrutiny on American capital, funds, American companies, financial companies, and it might possibly impose secondary sanctions. If secondary sanctions, unless European countries no longer care, but European countries don't seem easy to deal with either, now they're targeting TikTok. So if their intelligence says something like that, in the end, listing in Hong Kong to absorb what funds? First, wouldn't it fail to absorb those American funds? If America is really serious, if it's truly a financial war, right? Then what funds to absorb? Absorb European funds. So will European funds be attracted, afraid of secondary sanctions? Regardless, what can be attracted? Attract those like Aramco, those from Saudi Arabia, and so on, Middle Eastern funds. But Saudi Arabia is an ally of the United States, buying American fighter jets. Wow, this situation is really not that simple. If it really comes to that point, just do it and see. That is, for some news, you need to watch the changes in the overall situation. I will continue to report it to everyone. Actually, there will be a lot of turbulence in the future, very exciting. Finally, let me say, actually, Hong Kong benefits greatly, but I am also worried. Do you think the United States doesn't see it? If you come to Hong Kong like this, would it gather a bunch of places, making it easier to suppress, becoming a one-time sweep? Or is Hong Kong caught in the middle of this turbulent vortex? HSBC says that with the escalation of the trade war, the real estate market could drop by 30% and the GDP could decrease by 9.2%. It says this opportunity, it says a 5% trade war escalation, but does it seem like the trade war escalates by 5%? It seems like they want to talk now, but as for the financial war escalation, we don't know how many percent the property prices will drop. That's the measure. How do you all see it? Feel free to leave a comment below. Everyone has listened up to here. I hope you like these videos, share them with friends, and remember to subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.